Hi Alba, it's Andrew once again, ready to correct your copyright essay. These particular essays in the discussion of law can be quite difficult, but it looks like you've got a good grasp of it. So, what shall we do when we read the title of an essay? First of all, we should highlight the ideas that we must examine. So, copyright law being the subject, does it limit creativity or reward it? Oh. Would society function better without such rules and regulations? That's what needs to be discussed. But furthermore, we should also highlight the words that we are in danger of repeating too frequently. So things like law, copyright, creativity, society. Now, this task already gives you numerous words to use in place of law. Rules, regulations, yeah, I see you've used legislation as well. Now, the first thing first, it's not common to use the plural for legislations. It's legislation. So we should use legislation narrows. The issue of whether copyright legislation narrows innovation, or, now this is not an appropriate verb to use here. We should maybe say encourages it. But also, we could just say narrows or encourages innovation. The issue of whether copyright legislation narrows or encourages innovation has grown in importance, I would say, in recent decades. Slightly more formal. This opinion text agrees that modern societies should eliminate copyrighted brands in order to progress more effectively. I would combine these two sentences. And I would put, in order to do that, I would say, this opinion text puts forward that modern society should eliminate copyrighted brands in order to progress more effectively. Using examples to demonstrate that this rule increases prices unnecessarily which is a barrier for the progression of science. This is the first time I've seen a scientific argument put forward for the abolition of copyright laws. My apologies if my voice is a little bit funny today, by the way. I have quite a severe cold and I'm trying to continue working anyway. So in your intro for any essay, the three main points you need to include are a discussion of the contention, what are the two sides of the argument, your opinion, as well as a brief outline of the ideas you will use in your body. So, both science, so that's good. Oh, these rules, the plural. Firstly, licensed items are more expensive than those, I would just say without. Lacking infers that they should have. It lacks is a deficit. So it is the starting position is that it should have these things, and to lack is something that does not have, but it should. So we should just say that they are without copyright. So fully licensed, firstly, licensed items are more expensive than those without copyright. And then we're going to have to remove this, aren't we? We could just say due to lower production costs. This is because once international companies have obtained the exclusivity of an article full control of the market is achieved, and consequently prices become overinflated. Get is quite a short and informal and imprecise word. Wonderful. I love seeing people use "this is borne out by." This is borne out by a recent FDA study correlating the costs of production I would use, just to make sure that it's clear these are two separate things, I would use "as well as the market price of 250 drugs, demonstrating that drug corporations took a 300% benefit from the sale of patented drugs compared with a 25% benefit obtained when selling non-licensed molecules. Therefore, it is clear that if copyright ownership was banned, there would be more reasonable drug prices. And then we can say, actually, I think that's inferred. I was going to talk about the benefits of the consumer. So, secondly, scientific studies are strongly limited by the legal implications of copyright. This is due to the fact that patent owners impede researchers in the use of their products I would say that this isn't quite clear. Patent owners impede researchers in the use of their products here we could say through excessive royalties, because a tax is government. A royalty is what you pay to someone who owns the rights to a product that you wish to incorporate into your own product. But a tax is strictly government issued. It's owed to the state. So this is due to the fact that patent owners, through excessive royalties, impede researchers in the use of their products. It should be noted that the last survey from Harvard University to a group of US research institutes showed that 60% of the annual budget was invested in the payment of license rights. Resultantly, the present legislation obstructs the conduction of important studies and increases the costs. Now, conduction refers specifically to the conduction of heat or electricity. We don't use conduction when referring to conducting a study, because it confuses or conflates the ideas of electrical or thermal conduction. Instead, I would use undertaking. It obstructs the undertaking of important studies and increases their cost. Studies, you use the plural, so we should use the plural they. To conclude, I firmly believe that although current laws protect the intellectual property of originators, there are still numerous benefits I would say here, just change that to, there are still numerous benefits to the cost of research to be gained with the elimination of patents. And then I think we're all good. You have a very advanced vocabulary. You are clearly a scientist. We just need to make sure that we string together your sentences in a slightly more smooth manner, ever so slightly more clear, with a couple more formal constructions. You have some very advanced formal words, but the methods by which we grammatically string them together must also be formal. So the use of phrases such as get, let, have can almost always be replaced with slightly more formal constructions. So, next one. The bar graph. represents the consumption of 4 food types by UK, I would say males, and I would say in 3 different age groups, or of 3 different age groups. At 3 different group ages is not quite correct. Oh dear. UK males of 3 different age groups, and then this is fine. Younger than 24 years. Oh, no, not quite. It's younger than 25 years, because it's 0 to 24. So if you say younger than 23 years, it's 0 to 23. Between 25 and 49 years, and over the age of 50, I would say, or the over 50s. Both dairy and vegetables show a decreasing... Oh no, sorry, plural, my mistake. Both dairy and vegetables show decreasing trends, I would say, throughout the years. Or actually no, because we're talking about the change in time, I would say over the years. Dairy and vegetables show decreasing trends over the years, with dairy... Okay, so 1, experimenting. I'm sure you mean experiencing. And here, try not to add extra information that isn't in the graph. So the fact that, well, not the fact, the idea that it's remarkable is a matter of opinion. And we leave opinion out of these essays. We are talking only about the data. So we just say the largest fall. And then here we could just use a comma. Both dairy and vegetables show decreasing trends over the years, with dairy experiencing the largest fall, reducing its value by half. I'm going to be slightly more advanced here. With each increment of age, increment is an increase, next stage up. For males, in the first 2 life periods, comma, pulses show the lowest values being just above 20 and 10% respectively. And then I would say, whereas the consumption of pulses, rockets, maybe surges instead of rockets. Rockets is a bit metaphorical. Although it makes clear sense, it's better to be precise. And this should be in the last period, reaching the highest peak of the graph I would say becoming... The consumption of pulses surges in the last period, becoming the highest peak of the graph at around 65% of intake. And this should be the number of calories. It's a fixed number. So the number of calories provided by meat is practically identical on the first 4 first and third age groups. It experiences a considerable rise in men between 25 and 49 years old. In the group between 25 and 49 years old, in which it represents as much as 50% of the calorie source. That's good. Experiences a considerable rise in the group between 25 and 49 years old, in which it represents as much as 50% of the calorie source. Overall, food preferences vary considerably among the age groups. And then I would say, with dairy, meat and pulses, being the most consumed products for each respective group age. No, age group, for each respective age group. And then we're talking about the fact that they are in the same order as they are originally given. So once again, just some slight rearrangements there. There was nothing seriously wrong with your work. I'm just trying to make it the ideal response. Now, normally I don't live edit on screen, but today I'm feeling generous. And I'm quite ill, so it's a little bit easier for me to be able to track what I'm doing. So I'll send this over to you now. Get your next essays as quickly as possible, and I will have those corrected also. Have a great day, Alba. Well done for getting this far in the course, and speak soon.